Welcome to CDEC 167. And for some of you, probably most of you, we just finished CDEC 166, right? And you had a little bit of a break, but now here you are back to administration again, advanced administration, sort of part 2. And maybe I should just start by sharing with you that I have been told, and I agree, that many students say that 167 seemed to be easier, less work than 166. And so we'll see how you feel by the end of the semester regarding that. But you know, I'm sure you haven't forgotten that in 166, it's much of it is focused on Title 22, which is so many regulations, and so often, you know, looking up regulations in Title 22. But I hope you, especially if you just recently completed that course, that you feel good with your skills of looking things up. You know, we might not have it all memorized up here, but we can look it up. So it's great to see your faces, but I know some of you are not sharing your screen, but that's okay. I understand. I know there's many reasons why we may not be able to share or want to share our faces right now, but I know you're there. I see your name, so that's good. Okay, so the goal tonight will be to look at Canvas and how we're going to use it for this particular course. Those of you who just took 166 with me, the format, right, how I set things up in modules will be similar. Obviously, the content will be different, and what you'll be asked to do will be different from 166. Okay. Before I share my screen, is there anyone that would like to ask a question or make a comment before we move on? Oh, Catherine says in the chat box she can't hear anything. Is anyone else? Well, if I say it, you're not going to. Can you, Catherine? Can those of you, the rest of you, put your thumbs up if you can hear me? Okay, those are, yeah. Oh, great. Okay. So it's not my sound that's not working. Okay, Catherine, I'm not sure. Hopefully you might want to.
Sorry, guys. About the right.
Okay. Catherine, you might want to try to go out and then try coming back in. I don't know if that might help you or not. Okay. So, like I said, some of you just completed 166 with me. Some of you, it's been over a year since I saw you last in 166. And some of you might be even joining us after taking that class at another community college. So we will. Okay, great, Catherine. You're reconnected and you can hear now. That's great. That's great. I'm glad. Okay. So we'll be getting to know each other along the way. Some of us already know each other and some of us don't. So we'll be working on some projects together. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen. I am going to be showing Canvas and going into the syllabus. We'll be talking about what this particular class is going to focus on. Okay, I think some of you might be unmuted. If you could mute yourself. Yes, could everyone mute themselves? Sarah? Oh, could you mute yourself? Okay, Amy. Okay, great, thank you. Yes, along the way, if you have any questions, just go ahead and unmute and then ask your questions, okay? And then is there someone that would be willing to watch the chat box for me? And when questions come up, you could let me know what the questions are. Is there anyone that would be willing to do that?
I can do that.
Thank you. Thank you, Josh. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and we'll get started. Okay, I just finished doing the orientation for my infant toddler class, so let me switch over to 167. Okay, and here we are. So I just wanted to take a moment to talk about even the picture that I chose to be here on the card here at the beginning of the dashboard for this class. And it's simple, right? Simple words, think positive. But it does sort of frame for me what this class is going to be about. And one of the things that we will focus on in 167 is how to create a positive climate, a positive environment for both children, families, and staff. So this, you'll see this on your dashboard. We're going to go ahead and click on it, open it up. And just like in 166, I start with the home page when you open up to our class. And we have, first of all, the course description for this class. And just in a couple sentences, it tells you a little bit about what our focus will be. And then we do have several books for this class. However, they are not your typical textbook, but are so different from 166. I hope you will find these books valuable to you. They might be even books that you'll want to keep after the semester is over. So starting with A Great Place to Work, creating a healthy organizational climate. So this one really does focus on the workplace and how to really know how staff are feeling and finding out how they're feeling and then making changes based on that. So we'll be using this book. And we'll have also an assignment around this book. We'll be talking about that a little later. And these authors have written like a series of books for administrators that you might want to look at either during the semester or later on after the semester, especially if you start working as an administrator, supervisor. The books are really written well. Then this book is called A is for Attitude. It's all about our attitude, Alphabet for Living. And this book was given to me some years ago by a friend. And when I read it, I said, oh my goodness, I need to use this in my administration class because it fits so well with our first book about creating a positive climate. And the first edition of this book has a red cover, and you can use either one. Either one will work. I think she made very minor changes to the book, and I think it was pretty much the cover that she changed. So the chapters are the same, but each chapter is a different letter of the alphabet, and so a different word. Short chapters, but I have found that students really like this book, and they often will share it with their family and their friends, even if they're not working in our field, because it applies to life overall. I'm hoping you're going to like that book. And we will be also doing one of our assignments around reading and reflecting on the different chapters in this book. Oh my goodness, yes. So yes, here it is, Title 22. So you do not need to purchase this if you don't have it. We did use it in 166. And I think most of you would have used it just through, it's available online, so you just use that. Maybe a few of you purchased it, but we're not going to use this a lot. There's just, I think, one particular module where I will be asking you to sort of review the regulations, because even when we're looking at attitude and positive climate, we still need to keep track of all the regulations that we're following at a school. Okay, and then the last book is the PAS, Program Administration Scale. And I don't know if you noticed the author, but you know, many of you will know the ITERs and the ITERs assessment tools. This one is an assessment tool to assess the administrator and the program. So we'll be doing some activities around this book too, as a way to look at, again, some of the duties and skills that a director will need to have. Okay, so let me stop there for a moment and see if you have any questions about the books.
Professor, I have a question. When do we need the books by exactly? Because I purchased them, but they're not here yet. So
Okay, yeah, and that always happens, right, with books. So let's address your question again when we go into the syllabus. But I think, well, the first book that we will be using is A Great Place to Work. But I think there's time before you will need it to do the assignments and activities. But when we open up the syllabus, we'll check that out, okay?
thank you.
Yes.
Susan, I have a question about the Great Place to Work book. That one is a bit of a difficult find. I couldn't really find it. I think do you have suggestions where you can
Lena, I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Okay, let's see. Can you hear me okay now?
Yes, much
Okay.
better.
Okay. I'm for the first book, place yes, that one, Great Place to Work. I tried Amazon, they're out. I tried Chegg. I can go to Chegg and purchase it, but I was wondering if you had any suggestions where you can get this. Do you have it at Cerritos book? Can you
It's at the bookstore.
Okay.
All the books are available through the bookstore. I don't know if they've had any trouble getting them, but my understanding is that they're all there.
Yeah.
I also want to say, but what I would do is I would check for you and then get back to you. But I think Red Leaf Press,
Yes.
yeah, might have them. And then let me open it up to all the students. Has anyone purchased this particular book? And if so, where did you order it from?
I got mine from Chegg.
Okay, that's it. That's the only option I so far that I always do like comparisons.
Yeah,
But okay, excellent. Thank you. I appreciate.
yeah. If you still have trouble, let me know.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else have any other places they use to purchase their books besides the bookstore and Amazon? All right.
Miss Rudy, I'm sorry. Do you think they might still have them at the bookstore?
Yeah, they should. They should still have
Okay.
them at the bookstore.
I'll get them tomorrow.
Yeah, when we do a textbook order through the bookstore, we order enough for the amount of students taking the class, even though the bookstore knows students will go to other places.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anyone else? All right. So again, many of you have had me 166 and possibly in other courses, so you know something about me, but I still have my short introduction here on the home page for you to read. And then also using the same forms of communication, since this is an asynchronous class, meaning that we do not meet all together as a group once a week. Instead, we will be communicating with each other in different ways. So you can always send me an email. So my email address is here. I will have office hours 3 days a week. You see the times here. And then also notice that if these days and times do not work for you, that you can let me know and we can set up a different time and day. Okay, and then there's Pronto. So some of you are familiar with Pronto already. Again, I used it in 166 and I have found it to be a good way to communicate with each other. And I know that you can also be communicating with each other and helping each other, and I can help. So it's a good way. And sometimes people find that a better way, right? Or a quicker way to get a question answered rather than waiting till office hours. But I do want you to know that I'm there. I'm there for office hours, and we'll be glad to meet with you during those times or other times. And at least on office hours, I can share my screen and we can go through your assignment or through the assignment on Canvas. But with Pronto, for quick questions, that's an excellent way to get some answers. Okay. So the grading, the points and the feedback are the same as past semester, unless you haven't had me last semester. But yeah, I'll be posting modules. I'll be working on posting the modules on Friday. So for sure by Saturday morning, they will be available to you. This first week, I had to wait till Monday because of Canvas opening up. And so for this first week, you have Monday until Sunday to complete. But Friday, this coming Friday, I'll work on module 2. It will be available sometime Friday or for sure Saturday morning. And then you have till the following Sunday, whole week, to complete the assignments and activities. And again, as you know, with bigger projects or activities, I will give you more time than just 1 week to get something done. Let's see. And then again, some of you, I'm sorry, to bore you with some of this information because you already know this about me, but I do accept revisions. And I do accept late assignments as far as 2 weeks after the due date. Beyond that, I don't, unless there are some personal circumstances that require an extension. And because of what we're going through and we'll continue going through this, I think this semester with COVID, it keeps changing. I try to be flexible and understanding of what you might be going through. Okay. So I'll try my best to work with you on that. Okay, and then this bottom part is about the modules. Again, I like to recommend people go through the module each week, the beginning after it gets published, just so that you can see what's there, how much is there that you have to work on, get an idea. And then when you have time during your week to go back and complete the activities. Okay, so we will eventually go into the modules, but I do want to go step by step through this. And just have you notice that I have 2 announcements here for you. One is a job announcement. This is a past student that sent me an email this week. It's a job opening through the City of Los Angeles Department of Recreation and Parks. And I think, it's important for me to be sharing these with you, not only that you may be looking for a job, but also because this is an administration class, for you to look at how information is shared about jobs, right? So our department receives many emails from many programs when they're looking for substitutes, teacher assistants, teachers, and so it's just good for all of us to be looking at how that information is conveyed to the public. And then I left this in here. This is how to talk to children about COVID virus. And so you might want to check that out. And there's a YouTube there with some information. So I just ask that you check announcements every so often to see if I've added anything to it. Okay, then let's go into the syllabus. Okay, here we go. Okay, so some of this information on the syllabus is repeated on the home page, so I'm not going to spend as much time with those things because we've already covered them. Office hours, course description. These are the student learning outcomes. So this is what you're going to hopefully know and be able to do by the end of the semester for this particular course. So you can be reading those over. I do like to just mention there's the prereq is 166 before you take 167. And before you take 166, you need to have completed 110, 111, 112, and 113. And again, why should I be mentioning this? And why is this even a prereq? Why do we have it set this way in our department for students? And the answer has a lot to do with Title 22 and the regulations. So to be a director, you need to have at least 12 units and the administration course, this one. Okay, if you're looking at getting a permit, a child development permit, as you go up the different levels, there's 6 different levels, then it asks for you to have 2 courses in administration. Yes, and if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say child development permit, you might want to come and talk to me a little bit more about it in one of my office hours, and I'll be glad to share more information with you about that. All right. We do have a list here of the textbooks, and I just would like to point out my method here. So if you notice book 1, book 2, book 3, 4, because when we get into the calendar, it will tell you which book to be reading from or using, and it will just say book number rather than the whole title. So we'll see that once we get to the calendar. Okay, this information we have already talked about, but let's go ahead and get to the calendar now. So I've got the first column to be the module number and the dates of the week, particular module you'll be working on. A little bit of information about what the topic is, what's being covered in the module, and then the reading and assignments due. Okay, so I think, Nicole, this sort of goes back to your question, and it's in module 2 where I'm asking you to read chapter 1 in book 1. So if we go back up here, book 1 is a great place to work. So you may not have book 1 my next week. Okay, so I understand that. We will be using information from that book for an assignment that I'll be talking about. So once you get the book, you'll want to go back and read this chapter. But the PowerPoint that I will have in the module, we will be going over the information too. So you'll be okay. Next time that comes up is in module 6. So the topic goes with chapter 2 of a great place to work. So you'll be okay. But we can talk more about when you're going to get the book. I don't remember if you said when it says it's going to arrive. I think it will be okay. I think the issue will be with 2. If you don't, that starts in module 3, and I'm having you read chapter A and B. So that is book 2 is A is for attitude. So I don't have a good idea right now of how many of you have the book or the books, or when you're going to be getting the books. So, right, this is the week of January 24th to January 28th. So this would be due January 30th, the end of this month, right? So I think what I would say to all of you is that if you don't have the book in time to complete this assignment, you'll just let me know, right? And I will extend the due date for you. Okay. Any questions about that comment that I just made about the textbooks?
No.
No, we're good. Okay. All right. So if we continue down, I'm not going to read through all of this. you'll start to notice though in module 4, it says each group will receive their subscale and week of presentation. I'm using the PAS book. And so one thing for you to know ahead of time is that there is going to be one assignment, this PowerPoint presentation, that you will be working with other members of this class. And obviously you're going to have to work electronically with them, right? And using, email, Pronto. On Canvas, there's a thing called collaborations. It's another way for students to talk to each other. Google Drive. So you could do your PowerPoint on Google Drive, and then everybody can contribute to the PowerPoint. So the presentation is going to be a PowerPoint regarding a subscale from the PAS book, and that might not make any sense to you right now, so don't worry, I will be giving you more information. But it's just good to know at the beginning of the semester that that will be something that you'll need to work with others with. And so I will set up groups, and then there'll be small groups, probably 3 people to a group. And I know that sometimes people do not like working with groups. So can I open this up a little bit for discussion? And can you, in general, tell me why people don't always like working with groups?
I know that I've worked beginning of child development classes. There's always been group work.
Hi, my name is Sarah, and personally, I do like working with groups.
Hello, I think we had 2 people talking at the same time.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's okay.
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Sarah. You can go. I'll wait. That's fine.
No, it's okay.
Okay, Lena, go ahead, and then Sarah will talk after you.
Oh, okay. So I know in the beginning of CDEC and CDE classes, there's always been groups, especially during the time before COVID. And it was all, whether it be in person or online learning, it's always the communication is the most important. I think that's the only thing that is just a matter of communicating with one another and making sure you meet the deadline for your task. I think that's the most important part of the group activity that I've learned through my experience with CDEC work. But other than that, if we have that communication and organization, then everything should work out.
Okay, thank you. And Sarah, would you like to add to that?
Hi, my name is Sarah. Personally, I love working with people. I love working with groups because I feel that when you work with groups, you I don't know, like you create and you get ideas, and it's like I love it. But I think that one of the reasons that people don't like working in groups is probably because they're embarrassed. Probably because sometimes maybe because they feel that they're going to get more work put on them versus everybody else. And I think that that's one of the issues that people don't like working with groups. But I think that when we work with groups and everybody puts their, their part in it, I think that, the work environment, or in this case, our class assignments or whatever in a particular assignment in the group, I think that when it's time to present or whatever, I think that it's very nice. The outcome is beautiful. So that's my personal opinion on that.
Okay, thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to add?
I do, Professor. My name is Marissa. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, well, I can hear you, yes.
Yes, I can hear her.
So I just personally feel like past experiences, I feel like working in groups can always be where you can have, obviously you need the communication because you're working in a group, but I feel like with people's school schedule, work schedule, personal life, I feel like there's always been a problem where there's like, a clashing of like schedules. So that's the reason why I don't like it. And I just feel like if that's like a route I don't have to go, I don't like to go that route. Just because it's always put on like to 1 to 2 like people out of the group rather than it like a group effort. So I feel like it adds more pressure and stress in order to meet the goal of what the assignment is. So that's my opinion on it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing that opinion. Anyone else have something they want to share? Okay, well, I appreciate hearing your opinions. And I know that you all have an opinion one way or another about your experiences with group work. And I just want to say a couple things about it because I agree. Like I've been in groups where it didn't go so well, right? And I've been in groups that really clicked and worked really well together. And if I start to think about co-teachers that I've worked with, right? Because that's very similar, right? Working with a co-teacher or other staff members, it's the same thing. Like I've worked in classrooms where I felt like I was the one doing all the cleaning. And where is everyone else? They're just talking to each other and taking a break when we should all be cleaning, so this relates so much to the work that we're asked to do. And in this particular class, I see it as very really important for us to do this one assignment together, whether it works out or not. And your grade is not going to be based on that it's going to be your own individual grade. But it's been very interesting to me over the years because sometimes the groups, like I said, click and work together and everyone seems to communicate well. And like mentioned, everybody did their part, right? Versus other groups, and I just call it sort of fall apart. They just fall apart, right? And I want us to think more about this particular assignment in this way, okay? Because this is an administration course, right? And I want you to think about your role as the administrator. And it's you, right? You are leading this group, this staff, right? And you're asking them, right? You're asking your staff to work together on behalf, right, of children and family. We're not even talking about a presentation, right? But I want you to be thinking in that way because as a director, you're gonna want, right, your staff to work well together, right? To communicate with one another, to each do their part for the good of the children and the families and each other. And so that's the way I look at this. And it may, group that you become a part of, it may work really well and it may not. And I think like, because this course is now online, it brings a different kind of experience, right? The addition of it being communicating in different formats. And you're right? People have different schedules. There's a lot going on in people's lives right now. Some people have so much stress right now, and their schedules are so busy, and things come up that we don't even know are coming up, right? We don't have a plan that what's going to happen, right, tomorrow or next week. So it is difficult, but I think this relates so much to what the job of the director, and what are you going to do when your staff is not communicating? What are you going to do if you have a staff member where the other staff is feeling like they're not doing their job, they're not doing their part, they're not I remember a coworker, she came in every morning she came in late, 15 minutes late. Okay. Do you know what can happen in 15 minutes with children? Yes, Vanessa. a lot can happen, because how many children can be dropped off in 15 minutes, right? So the time she's supposed to be there, our ratio changes in those 15 minutes. So a lot can happen. And she was like one of the most amazing teachers I ever worked with. I loved her ability to interact with children, but I did not like that she was 15 minutes every day, and I couldn't understand it. I kept thinking in my mind, just turn your alarm back, get up 15 minutes earlier. But that really didn't make a difference for her, right? And so if I was a teacher and you were my director, and I came to you and said, I'm getting really frustrated, so-and-so is coming in 15 minutes, and this is what's happening in the classroom, and I'm getting so stressed out, right? So what's more important to me about this group work that you're going to do is thinking about, as a leader, as an administrator, what can you do in these difficult situations, right? And I want to speak to those of you who are always on top of everything. You know who you are. Like you want to do your best. You want to get it done. You want to get it done right. You have a certain way of working. You, when people are lack off and don't do their job, you're going to pick up for them. And I'm going to suggest to you, stand back. It might be very hard for you to stand back, because your personality is not to do that. Your personality is just take it on, get it done. I can't turn in anything that's not complete. I would rather get your presentation turned into me without a couple slides done, because whoever was supposed to do those slides didn't do their part, right? You leave those blank. I'd rather you do that than say, no, I'm going to do their work too. Yeah, so this is more than just a presentation. This is, and again, with the viewpoint, with the lens of a director, I want you to really think about it in that way. Like we are supposed to learn from each other's presentations. And by the way, you're not going to actually present it to us. You're going to create the PowerPoint, and then I'm going to have a place for you to post it in a discussion post. You'll display it there, and then the rest of the class will look at your presentation at their own time, and they'll give you some feedback about it. So you're not going to actually, present it, because we're not all getting together, right? So you're just going to place it into Canvas, and everybody will view it and give you some feedback. But the most important thing to me is that you think about, yeah, what do I, you know, your personality and the way you are with others. It gets us to think about that, but also to think about the role of the director in relationships among their staff members. Okay. Oh, and I have so many stories to tell about about that process, right? I think we all do. Okay. And then after me giving that whole spiel, anybody want to make a comment? Okay, so we'll move on. All right, let's see. We're going to continue on looking through the calendar. And again, I'm not going to go through all this. Oh, there we have a break, spring break. Yeah. No module that week. You get a break. Yeah. Time to rest. We're all going to need to rest at that time. It's in the middle, and it will help us with the rest of the semester, right? To the end of the semester. Okay. Keep going. Oh, there's a final reflection at the end, of course, but that won't be anything overwhelming. So no tests, no exams, no quizzes. In 166, I did give a quiz at the end about Title 22 regulations, but that won't be happening here, right? Just more, a little bit. Vanessa, okay. Good, okay, glad you're happy about that. Okay. All right, so then we have our chart here with a list of the assignments and the points for those assignments. Our grading scale, more information about Canvas, and we are going through the parts of Canvas that we're going to be using. Those of you, again, have had me before. Your attendance and participation is just based on your completion of the modules week by week. If I don't see you completing anything, especially for 2 to 3 weeks, I'm going to get concerned about you, and I will do my best to check in, see how you're doing. And again, please communicate with me if something's going on that is getting in the way of you being able to complete the modules as they're due. And again, I'll try to do my best to work with you on that. And then at the end here, we have some important notes. And again, since you've been at Cerritos, I think you've probably heard of these all before in all of your classes. Unless you're brand new to Cerritos this semester, taking 167, but I would assume that most of you have been at Cerritos taking classes. So I won't spend a lot of time on these, but the first one has to do with the academic accommodations, the SAS program. They'll notify me with a letter if you're needing some kind of accommodations for this class, and I'll work with you on those. Two, that we're all in the field of early childhood education, right? Working with children are mandated reporters of suspected child abuse. And then there's what's called Title IX. And this has to do with adults who are experiencing some kind of harassment, sexual harassment, sexual abuse, or sexual violence. And there are supportive services on campus. So I'm required, if you were to share anything with me regarding this, to what's called a care team on campus. And they would be then contacting to provide you some supportive services. So it's important for you to know that ahead of time. If there's anyone that's pregnant this semester, you also have rights for accommodations in this class. You do need to connect with the person in charge of the program on campus. And so I've placed that information here in the syllabus. And then just also know that Cerritos College has quite a few supportive services around basic needs, things like food, hygiene, even housing support. I don't know if you've all heard of it, but they have opened some apartments near the college. And they also have a laptop and Wi-Fi loan program. So all of this information is in this link with much more detailed information. And if you are needing any of these kinds of services, I can also help you with the resources that are available through the college. All right, so then that leads us into a description of the assignments for this class, again, so that you have some idea of what you're going to be asked to participate in this semester. And again, those of you who know me, I have what I call PowerPoint notes. There'll be PowerPoint presentations in the modules, and they sometimes include a video or reflection questions, application, applying the information. So there's a variety of things that will be asked in the PowerPoint notes. We'll also use discussion posts as a way to share our ideas with each other. Okay, number 2, I've changed the name a couple different times over the years, but now I call it Be a Difference Maker. Basically, make a difference in someone's life. It could be some kind of form of advocacy, that you're advocating for something. It could be a good deed that you do for someone else. And we do have to be careful. I'm not asking, because of COVID, we need to find careful ways. Be safe. You need to be safe. The person that you may be doing the good deed for also needs to be safe when you're doing the good deed, unless they're in your home, which that could be a possibility. So first you're going to be submitting a plan. You're going to tell me what your good deed is, and I'm going to give you some questions to answer for me. So I'll give you that in one of the modules. And then, so you're going to submit your plan. Then you're going to submit some kind of documentation of what you did, whether it's advocacy or a good deed. And then you're going to do it. Okay. And I want it to be focused around making a difference in the lives of children. It could be one single child, or it could be a group of children. It could be families. It could be one family. It could be teachers. It could be one teacher or an administrator. Sometimes administrators need some support from us, right? So you might want to start thinking about who would you like to do a good deed for, and what could the good deed be? Again, keeping safe and healthy in doing the good deed. And I will also give you more information about this assignment as we go along. So let me stop for a moment and see if you have any general questions right now about this particular assignment.
Hi, Susan. My name's Marie.
Hi, Marie.
I was just curious about the good deed thing. It has to be something that you plan to do and not something that was already done.
Yes, I would like you to do it during this semester.
Okay.
I understand that people may already be doing good deeds, right? That you've done
Right.
good deeds, or maybe you continue. Like I've had some people that do part of some organization where they do good things for others, and like if that's a consistent thing that you do and it continues the semester, that would be okay. But yeah, I'm not wanting you to write about something that you've already done in the past. That's
Okay.
something that you will do this semester.
Okay. Because I had donated a bunch of school supplies to my niece's kindergarten class.
Ah, that's a great example. And so it was just recently,
This was in September.
September.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we can have more of a discussion about that.
Okay.
And did you document it in any way? You might not have been able to take any pictures because children are involved, but did you document like what you purchased, or do you have any kind of documentation of it?
Just mentally.
Okay, yeah, so I think I would just ask you, because this doesn't need to be huge.
Okay.
We're not changing the whole world.
Right.
Although there's many things in the world that need to be changed, obviously. So it can be something, like I said, that you do just for one other person.
Okay.
And so, because I mean, I want to, it's great that you did that. I want to validate what you did, but I also want, because there are some things that I'm like documentation of what you did.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna, I think I'm gonna just go ahead and ask you to still do something. And again, it can be, again, it's not about like having to spend even a lot of money. It's not about making a huge change. But yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else have a question or a comment or an idea regarding this one? Okay, people, students in the past have done many different things. And I know that it can be helpful to have to hear some of those ideas, but I also, when I give ideas, I don't want people to think, oh, that's what I should do, or that's what I want to do, because I also want you to spend some time thinking about what it is that you might do. And it might even be a neighbor. It could be somebody in your house that you're going to do the good deed for. Again, because of COVID, I can't ask you to like go into a classroom and do something. So just think a little bit about it. Okay, but I will give you some questions that you'll be helping you plan it, and then a little more information about it in the module that I introduced that particular assignment in.
I have a question.
Yes, Josh.
So if you work in a school already, like, could you do something at your job there that you can use for a good deed, or?
Yes.
Okay.
If you're working at a school, if you're working at a school and you're in a classroom, yes, then that would, that works. I say yes to that. Okay. Just, also think simple. Because when you do a good deed, it can be a simple good deed that will make an amazing impact on the person or group of people. Yeah. Okay, and again, I'm not asking you to spend any money. So I don't want you to worry about that. You might have to get creative though. Yeah. Okay. It does say due dates are in the calendar. So first you're going to send me your plan, submit your plan of what you're going to do. And then there's a couple different dates on here regarding this assignment. And again, it will be about in the module 2. Okay, number 2 is has to do with the climate survey and written report. Okay, so this one might sound a little confusing at the beginning, but just stick with me, and you will get it. But in the first book, A Great Place to Work, which you don't necessarily have right now, in the back of the book, there's a short survey. And it's meant to be used by a staff. So a director could make copies of the survey. The author gives you permission to do so. And then it can get passed out and a staff can answer the questions, then turn it back in, and the director can get some information about that. So obviously, we're going to use it in a little different way. So the survey is Appendix B at the back of the book. And there's a letter, and then there's the survey. And so I'm going to be giving you a copy of the letter in the module, and then you're going to print out the survey, or you could send the survey electronically. Again, I have to make sure you're staying safe and the staff is staying safe. So if you work at a school or a center, I know that will be much easier to do this assignment. If you're not currently working with the staff, we can talk more about what or where you'll be able to do this. So I don't know if you've worked with at a center in the past and you're still able to speak with the staff and the director, because you're going to have to get permission first from the director. I don't want you to go behind the back of the director or administrator. You need to first get permission from the director to do this assignment with the staff, and then you can move forward with it. The other thing is that sometimes I've had a few directors, not very many, but a few, asked to see the surveys when they come back. And it's important for the directors to know that this is not, this assignment, you have to find a nice way to say this, does not include them, right? And they could use the survey themselves if they want to pass it out and then collect it. But you're going to give it out to 4 to 5 employees of a center and then ask them to return it to you. And then you're going to look over the surveys, and from the perspective of a director, look at what is the staff saying about this climate, and what kind of changes would you make based on their answers to the survey. Okay, so this tells you a little bit about it, and then you're going to answer some questions once you get the surveys back. So I don't know for how many of you this could be a problem as far as if you're not working right now at a center or a school. So you can let me know that, and then if you don't have anyone that you can contact, you can let me know. Okay. Any questions about this climate survey and written report? Okay, and then step 3 does say that you will be submitting the surveys to me through Canvas along with your 1-page reaction to these questions about what the staff is saying about the climate of their program. Okay. All right, so you can start to see that some of these assignments do revolve around the books that we are using for this class. And number 3 has to do with A is for attitude, an alphabet for living reflections. So you're going to be reading the chapters, and then I'll be giving you a question to answer regarding the chapter and how it's connecting to you and your life. So again, I hope that you will like the book. And you know, some people love to write. They love writing reflections. Some people would prefer to do other forms of expression. So there's times when in some of the chapters you can just do a drawing or use computer clip art or photos to express your answer to a particular question and chapter. So that assignment will be somewhat open-ended in how you share your ideas to those chapters. Okay, and then so just quickly, I just want to go back up to the calendar and again show you. You'll see the alphabet: chapter A, B, chapter C, D, chapter E, F, chapter G, H, chapter I, J. Okay. And I don't know if anyone's thinking it, the question about, I've been asked this in the past, so that's why it comes to my mind. Some people want the questions for all the chapters at the beginning of the semester. And I tend to like to slow things down rather than rushing through. I want to slow us down and have us be very thoughtful in our responses to this book. So you'll be getting them, you know, you'll get the questions in the modules, and you know, again, the chapters are short, so they won't take a long time to read. Maybe the assignment will take some thought on your part, right, in relating it to your experiences in life. Okay. All right, so let me go down. Again, if you have any questions as I'm going through, please stop me and let me know. Okay, that's A is for attitude. Number 4, as I started us off tonight, I was talking about being positive. And so I'm going to have each of you share something, and you're going to sign up for a particular module, and there will be a discussion post where you will present, again, not you're not going to physically do a presentation for us unless you want to do a video of you presenting. You could. You'll see me do a video in the module, right? A positive attitude presentation. And so each individual will do that, present something. It can be a quote, it can be a song, it can be a dance, it can be a story. It can be many different things, as it says here. So it could be a quote, a poem, a photo, a story, a song, a dance, a website, an object, or an interview that is about having a positive attitude. So it's all about having a positive attitude. And I keep working on that positive attitude every day. So tell us why you chose this particular way to share a positive attitude with the class. And remember to reference the author of the quote, the poem, the story, etc. And then you'll be collecting these short presentations, the quotes, the poems, etc. And you're going to collect them in a format that you like. It could be through a PowerPoint, it could be in a Word document, or some other format that you know how to do electronically. And then at the end of the semester, once you've collected all those positive attitude presentations, then you'll submit it to Canvas. And so it says start your collection with your own positive attitude presentation and a photo of yourself. Okay. And again, I will be giving you an example of how to collect. One way you can collect these presentations. And I also gave you first positive attitude presentation was from me, right? And when we get to the module, there is a link and it takes you to a Google Doc where you're signing up for the date that you will do the presentation. And again, when I say presentation, it just means that there's going to be a discussion post there for you to put in your PowerPoint, or your could be in any format, you know, your quote. So it'll be fairly simple in the module that you sign up for. Okay, any questions about the positive attitude presentation? Okay, so here I've mentioned this one before. This is the one thing where you are going to be working with a small group. And again, you will be turning in your own work to me. First, it will be a plan that hopefully your group will work together on. And then you'll document how and what you contributed to the planning of the presentation. And then there will also be a peer evaluation. So you will have a chance to let me know how you felt your group worked together. So it goes sort of step by step through here. You're going to use Pronto, Collaboration, Google Drive. It will, you're not going to actually present it, but what I'm asking you to pretend is that you're presenting it to a staff at a center. And I'm hoping that your presentation would be interactive and creative. And I'm going to give you an example. So like I'm going to present one of the PAS subskills in a presentation, PowerPoint presentation, and that will give you some better ideas of what I'm asking for regarding this presentation. And then the class, you know, will be your pretend staff. And so it says you will not verbally present your PowerPoint, but we'll put it into a discussion posts for the class to view and respond back to. And a little bit more information about it, but if I go through this right now, it's going to leave you. And when we get to start planning this, I will be giving you more information. So you could be reading this over to get an idea. Okay, we do have a website assignment. Again, for directors working with families and children will need to know about different resources that may be helpful to families. So I have, and also staff, right? Teachers too. So I'm going to have you go to NAEC, the National Association for the Education of Young Children website. I'm going to have you go to the Children's Defense Fund and also the Child Development Training Consortium, their homepages. I'm going to have you answer some questions. I'm going to have you take a screenshot so you can prove to me that you got to those websites, and answer some questions like what kind of resources do these websites have? And so you might not like me when you do this assignment, because I believe when you reach the point of being a director, you just like researching regulations in Title 22, you also have to be a good researcher of resources and agencies and trainings and all kinds of things. So you'll have to do some researching on the internet for this assignment. All right. Number 7 is a preschool learning foundation assignment. This one has to do with the DRDPs, but I'm not having you look at DRDPs. I'm having you look at preschool learning foundations, which are connected to the DRDPs. So the foundations are like what we want children to know and be able to do. And then the DRDPs is the assessment tool for that. And many people do not know about the foundations. And it's an important part of the DRDPs to also know about the foundations. So we're just going to do a little activity around that. And also think about how would we train teachers to know about the foundations. There's a lot of trainings about DRDPs now. So we'll do a little something with that. Also, I already mentioned that resources are going to be really important for directors to know about and also to research. So we'll have, I'll be having you do, find an agency or find some information on the website. This will be fairly simple, I believe, and you'll just write a short paragraph about why you chose a particular resource. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I told you we didn't have any quizzes, and look what it says. There's one quiz. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. Yeah, one quiz. But I will give you a review sheet. So you will get 100%. You'll get 100% on this quiz. So I'm assuming you know about the National Association for the Education of Young Children, which is the Teachers Association, focusing on 0 to 8 years old. And they have what's called an accreditation for centers. So centers can become accredited, meaning that the idea is that they are doing a good job. High quality childcare is happening here. And people may agree or disagree, but there's a lot of criteria that they're looking at. to validate that this is a good place for children. So you're going to be learning a little bit about the accreditation, and that's what this little quiz is going to be about. But don't worry, I'm going to give you a really good review sheet, and you'll do very well on this quiz. Okay. And then we have the final reflection within module 18. And then I already mentioned participation and attendance by doing your modules each week. All right. Whew. That might look like a lot. I don't know how you're feeling right now. Oof. Yeah, but this is advanced administration. Oh boy. Yeah, there's a lot to do, a lot to know as a director. Yeah, so in 166, we talk about all the hats the director wears, right? And that concept continues, right, in this class too. But you can see that we're going to be really focusing on positive attitudes, positive climates, getting to know what your staff is feeling and thinking, and lots of things around resources for families. So hopefully it will be a positive experience for you taking this class. Okay, before I close the syllabus, does anyone want to ask a question about something on the syllabus before I close it?
Susan, it's Lena.
Yes.
So as the modules go, I know that you've always put an instruction or kind of video that will apply with this class as well. You're going to give like instructions and
Yeah.
samples of-
So yes, and yes. So and I'm going to go into the module after I close this down. But yes, I have a directions page at the very beginning of each module, and I have a video in each module to get you started, and then the steps, within the directions page before you start clicking the next button.
Thank you.
Yes. Anyone else with a question before I move on? Okay, I'm going to close this. And now we'll go into modules. Okay, so yeah, my modules are set up in very similar way to 166, and actually the other courses that I teach, and I start always with a directions page. Started giving you an idea of what the module is going to be out, and then the steps that you will be completing during the module. So here it's just saying that this first module is introducing you to the class, and then I have a video. And this particular video has questions within the video where the question will come up, and then you're going to answer the question. It's basically like it's asking you like review questions about what you just heard. Okay. So there's not any points, but it's just an introduction. And as you can see, I'm using puppets who are representing administrators and directors and supervisors and assistant directors and some teachers too. So I tried to have some fun in making these videos. I hope you will find them fun, but also know that there's content within the videos that I hope you will also see and hear as you watch those. And then we have the information about the orientation and the steps for the week. So there's a who am I discussion post, getting to know each other. what this class is all about, and then signing up for a positive attitude presentation. And then I also will put reminders of what might be due soon, or just a reminder of something I think is important for you to do for the module. And then you just click on next. Okay, so again, those of you who just took me in 166, you did this netiquette discussion post, I realize. But have it in all my classes, and it's, I think, just important for all of us to be reminded about netiquette and what netiquette means, and looking at how we're communicating with each other, which is also goes back to, you know, what we already talked about regarding group work and how we communicate. And I just know that I have participated in discussions in staff meetings before where there was just things got miscommunicated, right? Or people misunderstood what the other person was saying, or you know, because we don't know what's going on in each person's life, sometimes we can misunderstand someone. You know, it always takes me back to when I was working in an infant toddler program, and I don't know if you've heard me tell the story before, but I felt like I was the only one that got up when many of the infants and toddlers were sleeping. I found that to be a time where, you know, we could get a lot of cleaning done. So I would get up and I would start cleaning tables and toys and da 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 da. And then my coworkers found it to be a time for sitting and relaxing and talking with one another. And at some point it became a frustration for me, and we ended up talking about it in a staff meeting. But it, you know, people can have very different viewpoints about so many different things. So but this is just a reminder about being about netiquette, and how we communicate with each other electronically and online. And so if you choose not to watch it again, if you've never seen it, I do ask you to watch it. If you don't remember it, I ask you to watch it. If you remember it and say, Susan, I really don't need to watch that again, I won't. I will not know, but I do want you to answer the question. And see, some have already, and it's great because we have some new people joining us this semester. So it's a good way to start getting to know each other. Okay, wow, look at all of you. Great. Okay. And then who am I? So you're going to attach a photo of yourself and then type in the box, completing the sentence I am 5 times. So here's another way we can start to get to know each other. And I did my own example. I am a yogi. I take yoga classes. Right now I'm taking them virtually. And my yoga teacher always reminds us that we are yogis, even if we're beginning, or if we're beginners at yoga, we are yogis. And then, yes, I'm a sister, an aunt, and a cousin. I do love to be creative. I am getting gray hair. And yes, I'm learning how to teach classes online. All right. So yeah, I hope you, once you put your sentences in, you'll be able to see everyone else's. And if you were at the beginning, you got this done already, I hope that you will go back and see what everyone has written. So as a way to learn about each other. And I'll just quickly go through, because I know some of us don't want our picture up here. But Yeah, a lot of you have answered. Okay, good. Yay. Okay, awesome. Okay, and then the next discussion post number 2, getting to know more about each other. Okay, and so now with this one, this is more about experience working in the field and working with children, what kind of programs you've worked in, if you have your permit, your child development permit, and then some questions about what you think the biggest challenge will be as a director, what will you enjoy, what do you hope to learn in this class, and again, you're going to submit those questions in the reply box. So you can just cut and paste and then put your answers in there. Okay, again, stop me if you have any questions along the way here. Okay, I have to go to the bottom to get to the next button.
Ms. Grady, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What are we supposed to cut and paste?
Okay, so the let me go back.
Sorry.
No, that's good, because then I can show you everybody. There's a previous button over on the left-hand side. Get back to what comes before that. So here, I think I just said in the reply box below, type in your first name and then each answer, each question number and your answer. So actually, you don't have to cut and paste all of this. It's just that you want to at least put the number, like put number 1 and then your name, put number 2, and then if you have experience, whatever you have experience with, type that in. So you don't have to cut and paste all the questions, just make sure you put the number.
Okay, thank you.
So we know, we know that which answer fits with which question. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay. All right, I don't know if you reached this point in the module yet, or maybe you didn't even start the module yet. This first module is due by Sunday at midnight, so you still have time, obviously. And this one is about what this class is all about. So it says fill out the following handout. So you're just going to open this document up, and then it tells you step by step what you're going to do. And you're going to use some of like the video message on the directions page, and what are the words shared by the puppets that relate to this class. And then you're going to look at the student learning outcomes, which are on the syllabus. We mentioned them. And then you're going to answer the question on the handout. Again, this handout up here. Then you're going to watch this video link called Don't Laugh at Me. And then there's a book called A is for Activist. And so you're going to look at that and write something on your handout. And then there's step 5, 6, and 7. So this is due, right, on the 16th, but again, remember that I accept late assignments 2 weeks after the due date. Okay, so I don't know if anyone started this part of the module, and if you have any questions you wanted to ask that also might help others. Okay. And then let's click the next box. This is where you're going to sign up for your positive attitude presentation. And here it gives you some directions. This is the Google Docs where you're going to sign up. I'm going to open it up because I might be surprised to see. So, oh, yes, there are some names. Yes. Yes. Okay. So there's still a lot of spaces available. So, but you're going to come here and decide which day you are going to, well, actually which module. I'm going to ask that module that you sign up for that you post your positive attitude presentation at the beginning of the week, like by Monday, Sunday or Monday, so that the other students, right, are going to be going and looking at it, because that's going to hopefully help them also start off their week in a positive, with a positive attitude. And then they'll be collecting whatever you contributed to your discussion post. Okay, great. So I see some names there. If you haven't done it already, don't worry, you still have time to add your name. And then when you click next, here is the practice of using Pronto. So I'm just asking you to download Pronto to your phone and say hi to us. Yeah. Okay. Let me go in here one more time. And you'll notice that I signed up first. So in module 2, you'll see me do an example of a positive attitude presentation. And as I already mentioned, I did on a video. I'm not requiring you to do a video, but I have 2 quotes that I share, and I share them on a video. You could just paste your quotes into the discussion post or put it into a PowerPoint and put it that way. So depending on what you're going to do, but I'm just wanting to clarify and make sure you know that you're not requiring a video from you for this. Okay. Close that up. Okay, so that's everything for this first module. And then unless there's any questions about modules, I just want to point out the next link here along this list is the grades. And again, I will post your points there, and Canvas automatically gives you your grade along the way. So that's always there for you. I also wanted to mention collaborations. So that might be one way that you would work with your group on your group presentation. You're not required to use collaborations. Again, there are many different ways that you can connect with each other. Okay, assignments will show up too on your page. I just highly recommend that you always go through the modules. It's a way to get everything you need to know when you're doing an assignment, because I'll have maybe I'll have samples or I'll have videos that will help you with the assignment. So if you just go into assignments and you just read the assignment, you're not getting the full picture. So always go step by step, my recommendation, through the module to help you with the assignments. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen and come back to all of you. But before I do that, I just want to check one more time if you have any questions about Canvas. that you want me to go back over?
I have a question in regarding to the discussion post. Would you be letting us letting us know when well, my question is, for every discussion post, do we have to reply to at least 2 of our classmates? Or you're gonna let us know when to do it?
Yes, I will let you know. I know, I think in the trainings that many faculty go through, that it is recommended, or it is shown in those trainings that if we do a discussion post, we ask you to put something into the reply box, and then we have you respond to at least 2 students. So I don't always do that. I don't always have you responding. My hope and expectation is that you are looking at what others are sharing, but not, yeah. So when I want you to respond to someone, 1 or 2 students, I will give you those directions. Okay? Yeah. Good question. Anything else? Okay, I'm going to stop my share here. Come back to all of you. Okay, I'm sorry, Maria, you were having issues with the internet. Sorry to hear that. Yes, but yes, it's being recorded. Okay, and then Marie is letting us know that if anyone needs the book, it's on bigwords.com. It's a comparison website. It's where I buy most of my textbooks. Okay. Marie, are you referring to one of the books in particular?
Well, they were asking about the Great Place to Work.
Yes. Oh, that one. Oh, when we were talking about that one. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. All right. Bigwords.com. I don't know about that. All right. Okay. Well, thank you so much for listening to me go on and on and on. But I do hope that the information gives you a sense of what we're about to begin all together. I do want to say to you, please, if anything is not clear, if I have written something in a confusing way, please let me know. Please ask a question on Pronto, come to my office hours, email me, so that I can clarify. That form of communication, written form of communication, and communicating through modules is like I feel like I could be doing this another 20 years to figure it all out. So it's like a whole new language, right? Teaching this way. So but if I might feel like I'm being clear, but it might not be clear to you, but I won't know that unless you tell me. So please, I hope you will feel comfortable letting me know. Okay, so we are at 8:51 and I'm going to hang out here. If anyone wants to stay around to ask any questions, any individual questions that you might have. If not, I will say good night to you. I hope you sleep well. It's important for us all to get good sleep these days with all the stress around us. So take care, be safe, and just let me know again any way I can help or support you through the process of this class. Okay, and welcome to CDEC 167. Leslie, you have a question?
Yes, I do. Hi, Miss
Okay.
Susan.
Hi.
Hi. So for the positive attitude presentation, I am one of the first ones to do it right after you, so I'll make sure I get it right. I took that chance.
Okay.
Am I gonna be posting whatever I choose to post in a discussion post?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so it's not in a different avenue
No,
anywhere.
yeah, in the module, it will be, a discussion post will be there.
Okay,
And it will be for you. It will be labeled positive presentation. And then you'll go in there and add yours. Nobody,
has like in the
well,
reply box.
yeah, in the reply
I
box. You'll put
see.
it in the reply
Okay.
box. And if there's another person on that same day, they'll put theirs in there. But nobody else will participate by putting anything in the reply box. They're just going to go look at what you put there and hopefully feel
See.
in a positive way based on what
Yes.
you have shared. Yeah, it's so hard because once you start looking for positive quotes or poems or whatever, it's hard to choose. Like I keep finding things and I keep thinking, oh, that's the one I should have shared with them. But
Yes.
yeah, but it's people have told me like sometimes directors will have like a board, a bulletin board, maybe in the staff room. I even heard it was used in the restroom with just a positive quote put up there, you know, because teachers, when they go on their breaks, sometimes they need something positive in there, you know, to get back
Exactly.
into that classroom. So yeah, so that's my goal here.
Okay, perfect. And then when we are gonna turn in everybody's in a compiled way, are we copying and pasting? How are we gonna gather all of their stuff and put it
Yeah, so
into?
yeah, so you can cut and paste. That's probably going to be the
Okay.
easiest way. You could print out, you can print it out and make an actual book. I'm going to show you an example of that in the
Okay.
module. So because if
Okay.
we were going on campus,
Mhm.
the way I used to do it would be I would give you a blank book with pages of blank pages, and then the person that was presenting would bring their enough for,
Okay.
and hand it out to each person. Then you would use some glue and you would stick it in the book.
So everybody would have a book of all these images and things like that, or quotes. I see.
Right,
Okay.
yeah. And some people even
Okay.
got fancy and put it on labels. And
Ah,
yeah, so I had to find a different way, right?
yes.
When we switched online, because I think it's so this assignment is so valuable. So that's why I'm open to however you want it. Like you could make the actual book at home and then take pictures of it and submit that to me at the end. You could put the
Okay.
pictures into a PowerPoint, or you can just cut and paste and put onto a Word document or PDF,
And
or
then
I don't know. Some people know about things that I don't even know about technology wise. So yeah, I'm open.
okay.
I'm open to how you're going to document it.
Okay, perfect. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you so
welcome.
much.
Yeah, thanks for signing up early on. So
Yeah, thank
yeah.
you.
Thank you for your question, because I was like overwhelmed, and then now that you how to explain it, it's like, oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, some of us, including me, need to hear things more than once and sometimes in different ways, right? Yeah, so other people asking questions can be helpful to everyone. Okay, what else? What else any other questions?
Hi, Professor. I have a question.
Yes.
It's Nicole. Hi.
Oh,
Hi.
I love your picture of is that your dog, your puppy?
Yeah, he's your palm. Yeah, he's cute.
What's your puppy's name?
Valentina, like the fashion designer.
Oh, Wow,
Yeah,
how
thank
fun.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I have a question. For the when we start like an assignment, I know you usually let us have like a like you said a week to do it, but I personally had an experience on Monday with my other professor where I started the assignment on Monday and we had to do a discussion post and answer other people, but I was the last one to, the answer. Like there was no one else after me yet. So I did the assignment and I'm like, okay, I'll wait till tomorrow to answer somebody else. I had to answer the two people. Well, there was no one else after me. So I got graded that exact the next morning on Tuesday, yesterday, and the professor gave me like pretty much like a D or an F, and she's like, "Oh, you're missing all these things," but I'm like, it's due Thursday. What do you mean?" So I don't know if you're gonna grade it that way. Like once we start an assignment, we have to do it the day of. I'm not sure if like it's a new rule at the college or anything, but she won't let me redo it even though it's due like tomorrow. So I'm not sure if it's like a thing now. I just wanted to clarify with you if you're gonna be doing that too, just to not get a low grade. Yeah.
No, I won't, I, I
Cause,
won't do
'cause
that.
I really bother.
I'm not even quite sure what she's doing, but it sounds like,
Very
she's not
strict.
giving enough time, first of all,
No, she gave a due date for this Thursday, tomorrow actually. I'm like, oh,
tomorrow.
it's a second post. I can't just do it in one day. So,
Yeah, no, that's, yeah,
yeah.
I can only try to explain possibly
Okay.
that they're having us go to lots of different trainings about online teaching. And sometimes I feel like my brain is going to explode based on all of that. But there might be like something about like have them turn something in the first week,
Mhm.
just to get them engaged and da, 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 da. But yeah, I don't really know. But no, we're not all being told to do something like that.
Okay, because I don't want to get graded badly just literally the first day of class. So I just wanted to clarify if like
Yeah.
that's the
Well, and
thing.
the first week, no matter what, can be very overwhelming, I think, both as a student and teacher, right? So yeah, no, don't worry. And I think that
Yeah.
yeah, if I do something like that, yeah, talk to me. Tell me.
Thank you so much, Professor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry
Bye.
that's happening. Yeah.
It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye, Professor.
Yeah. All right. Take care.
Susan, I was gonna stick around so that we can discuss what you discussed in the previous
Oh,
class. But I see that you have a lot of other students that are still on, so I'll look for your email
yeah, look
and
for my email. Yeah,
I'll
and
respond to
if you can't find it, if you can't find my email, just let me know that and I'll send it again.
that. Okay. All
Or
right.
I'll try calling you.
Okay. Wonderful.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Have a great night.
Okay, take care.
Bye,
Good to
everyone.
see you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Good to see you too. Bye.
Some of you are saying good night in the chat box. So I want to say good night to you too. And yes, stay safe. Have a good
Professor,
night.
I have a
Yeah.
quick question. I'm not sure if I just didn't hear it throughout the presentation, but I just wanted some clarification. So for your modules, if do you open them like on a weekly basis, and do you why don't you open up on a weekly basis? But say we're finished with all our work, would you open a module sooner if like we emailed you? That was something that I got clarification for 2 other classes, that if we would just email the professor, they would open the next module for us. Is that something that you do, or do you go week by week, or like what's your protocol?
Yes, I go week by week. And I have not opened up modules sooner. So every week there will be a new module, and I work on publishing them or posting them on my Friday, and then for sure by Saturday morning they're available to you. And then you have a week to work on what's in there. And sometimes the modules have something that's due by the end of that week, but some of them have introductions to bigger assignments that will take time. I think that's going to take up your time. So rather than moving you ahead or forward, and like some of the work has to do with discussion posts where other students are going to need to answer questions and you getting information from them. So we really need to move through the modules together as a group, rather than me opening them up. And I understand that other faculty may have different opinions about that. So, but that's what I will be doing, is just week by week opening them up.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Have a
Okay.
good night.
Okay, you too. Take care. Okay, I see some friends left with me.
I have a really quick question. I'm sorry.
Okay, it's okay.
I kind of got lost in the process of the presentation where it says, so I feel like I'm already late on assignments because you showed that there's people already answered the discussions, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have not done that. And then when you said we have until Monday to add our name, I don't know where, and what assignment?
Well,
And
Sarah,
where do
I think just because you got added,
okay, yeah.
right? Yeah,
Uh-huh.
but the module, because the semester started on Monday, the first module was posted.
Oh,
And so
okay.
they yeah, that's why you're seeing students who have already completed
Oh, okay.
parts of the module. Yeah. So you just, starting tomorrow, you have access now to Canvas and to the module. So tomorrow you can start working on it, and you have, tomorrow's Thursday. So you have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and all of Sunday.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah, but I will be
Okay.
publishing the second module. So people have it on Saturday to start the next one.
Excellent. Now, where do I add my name for the, and for what assignment is that? Is that in the module that you're going to explain that?
No, that was in the module I just showed. Let me show real quick. I can share my screen and show you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Because I still have it up here. So
Okay.
this is the first module, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so in the module, there's this page that says sign up for positive attitude presentation.
Okay.
Okay, so let me go back and I'll start from the beginning so it makes sense. So I have to go to the bottom of this to get to the previous. So what, if you go through this step by step, then just keep clicking next, you'll get to everything. Okay, here's etiquette.
It's similar to last class. Like
Exactly.
the way okay, the way it's
Yeah, the
structured.
way is the same.
Okay.
The content is going to be different, right? Because we're
Yes.
looking at different things. Okay, so here's the directions page.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right?
Okay.
Always start with directions. And then we have the etiquette discussion post. And then we have the who am I discussion post. So you're sharing a little bit about yourself. That won't, this won't take very long. Just a photo and then 5 things.
Okay, perfect.
And then this one is about getting to know each other a little bit more. So there's questions that I'm asking you to answer in the reply box,
Okay.
which is about your experience in our field mostly. I'm gonna do that. And then fill out the following handout and submit. So this is a handout. You're going to click on here. I didn't open it up while we were meeting. Okay, so this handout, you're going to be responding to some different questions. And you have to go back to things that are in the
Okay.
module.
Okay.
And it tells you, yeah, step by step what to do. This might take a
Okay.
little more time.
Okay.
Yeah. And then let me close this. Yeah, and then this is where you were asking about where do you sign up. So this page is about signing up for a positive attitude. So that's what Leslie was talking about. And it tells you a little bit about signing up and what you're going to do during what you're going to submit into the discussion post for the module that you sign up for. But here's the sign up sheet. See down here, sign up sheet. And here's the actual link to that. So it's a Google Docs, which allows people to type in their name. So you can see that people have already signed up, but there's still spaces available.
Mr. Dean, I'm so sorry. I got kicked out of the meeting. I did not see that process. I'm sorry. I left. I got kicked out where you were leaving that other document. But if you want, go ahead and answer the other people's questions, and I will, if I can see you maybe tomorrow morning or later on.
Yeah,
tomorrow. I don't want to take them.
Yeah, tomorrow I actually have a division meeting that I'll be attending. But this is I'm just going along in the module. And
Okay.
it will take you to this sign up.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And then there down here is the actual link.
Excellent.
It's a Google Doc, so you can type your name in here. See, these students type their names in here. It's like a live document, so you can type whatever module or date you want to submit your presentation.
That's for the group one, right?
This is not for the group. This is your individual.
Oh.
This is just each individual student. The group one, don't worry about right now.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go on the step by step because I think I'm getting overwhelmed because I'm thinking of everything. I haven't seen the module, that's why.
Yeah, yeah. Just go step by step through the module. And then if you have questions,
thank you, Ms. Gerdine.
We can meet if you have questions.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Have a wonderful and blessed night.
Okay,
and
you
thank
too.
you very much.
Okay, you too.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. My two friends. You two know each other. Are you frozen? Are you frozen? Let me unshare. It won't let me. Oh, there we go. Okay, and I can see you better. I'm going to stop the recording.